Hola a todos y a todas. Estoy demasiado feliz porque hoy día tengo a una invitada muy especial que yo sé que muchos de ustedes la conocen y es Elise de Petit Crochet y vamos a conversar con ella un ratito. Voy a dejar todos los subtítulos. Yo sé que en YouTube automáticamente se ponen subtítulos, pero prefiero yo ponerlos todos, así que vamos a tener una conversación con ella y espero que les guste. Así que voy a cambiar ahora a inglés para conversar con ella y vamos a conocernos un poquito más. Así que, hello Elise!
Hi. Hi, Natalie. How are you?
I'm so happy and so honored that you accepted this invitation.
Oh,
Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I was telling Elise before we started recording that, and my daughter was here, and we told her that that we've been watching her since 2020. Around November, we started watching your videos, and we are huge fans. And I'm just really excited because some of my viewers on my YouTube channel have mentioned you that they watch you also. So I think that's really cool because my channel is in Spanish
yeah.
and they watch you anyway. So it's such an honor to have you.
Well, I just appreciate the invitation. When you emailed me or messaged me on Instagram, I was like, "Oh, that sounds like so much fun." Yes.
Yes,
I don't I don't get to talk to people in real life about crocheting and amigurumi and knitting and all of that. So I love being able to talk to people.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited. I just want to make sure one thing because I'm not sure. Do you still see me full screen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. We'll just see how it turns out because I've never recorded
Okay.
this way, but whatever. Well, I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to see both of us.
Okay.
So, Elise, please, first of all, just tell us a little bit about yourself for anybody that doesn't know who you are.
My name is Elise, and my last name is Speed, like going fast. And I live here in North Carolina in the United States. I've been crocheting pretty much nonstop since about 2016. And I have a YouTube channel, and I have 4 kids and a husband and 2 cats that hate each other. And that's how I spend my days, recording videos and wrangling cats and cooking food for my family and crocheting and knitting in between all that.
I've seen your cats, and I always wonder, like, oh, do they get along? Because I never see them together in your
They're
videos.
never together. Yeah, nope. You will not see them together.
Cats are
No.
difficult that way. They're very territorial.
Yeah, one of ours is really territorial. She doesn't like her little brother. So,
Oh, okay. That's Olive then.
yeah, Olive does not like pickle.
Okay. So you said that did you start crocheting like in 2016?
When my grandmother showed me how to crochet very basic, like chain, single crochet, when I was probably 10 or 11, but I really didn't do much with it, but I knew the foundational stitches. But it wasn't until 2016 that I actually, as an adult, sat down. I want to learn how to do this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. So did you begin with amigurumi or did you start with
No.
slowly?
I started with granny squares. So yeah, that's how I really started. And it just kind of grew from that.
Okay, perfect. So when did you start with amigurumi? Because I know that in your channel and I've seen you have like maybe 5 topics that you kind of touch on in your videos, and so I see granny squares there also, but amigurumi is like a main part of your channel. When did you start, and how did you become interested in amigurumi?
It was about a year later, so it was 2017, and it was really kind of when the Animal Friends of Peek-a-Pow book came out, the one with the frog on the front, and that's when I think that was published in 2017, and I just happened to come across it, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen. I didn't think that I would be able to do it, but I got on YouTube and I decided to just do a simple tutorial just to see, could I crochet a toy? And I made a little bunny rabbit that I've shown many times on my channel. And he was terrible, but I thought it was the most amazing thing on planet Earth. I was like, what? I can't believe that I made this. And literally from that moment forward, that's all I wanted to do. I was sort of like, I had blinders on and I just wanted to crochet toys.
Oh, okay. So I'm really curious about what your family has thought about your entire journey. I'm kind of like jumping into different questions, but I'm curious about their thoughts about your crochet journey and also about your YouTube journey. What does your family think?
Well, they thought it was great that mom got a hobby, and that I was, having fun playing with yarn. And the YouTube channel. So my kids in 2017, I'm trying to think how old they were. My youngest was 15. What was he, 15? He's 20 now. Yeah. So he was 15. So they were 15, 17, 19, and 21. And my 19-year-old thought I was going to make a fool out of myself and was like, no, mom, do not get on YouTube. That is like, no, don't do it. But now she is my very first employee and she is my biggest supporter now. And I'm paying her to help me with YouTube now. So she's come full circle. Yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that, I mean, I can imagine, of course, my daughter is 19. She's almost the same age as
Okay.
her youngest.
Uh-huh.
That's so funny that she was like, oh no. And you are an amazing YouTuber. I mean, I can tell that you put a lot of effort and you've studied and you've learned a lot, and you can definitely tell.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit also about your YouTube. Like, how did that come about? How did you start thinking about why? Why did you want to do it?
Well, when I started crocheting and I was really getting into it, I knew I needed some type of an outlet, and I started by selling finished toys. But if you've ever done that before, that is a lot of work. And I kept getting more and more orders, and I'm trying to crank out these toys. And number one, I started to kind of lose that love for crocheting toys by just cranking them out, and I was selling them for very, very cheap. And I just knew that I needed more of an outlet. I needed a way to share this because, and I've talked about this on my channel before, but my son, my 17-year-old son at the time, was his health was not good at all. He has epilepsy and it was really bad, and I needed an outlet. And so crocheting toys was great, but I was selling them, but I knew I really wanted to share more. And I knew that a lot of people look at crocheting toys and think, oh, I can't do that. And I'm like, listen, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because it really isn't that hard when you break it down into bite-sized pieces. And I knew I wanted to share. So I took a blogging course. She is Farmhouse on Boone on YouTube, and she had a blogging course, and I thought, okay, I'll start a blog. But she talks about in her blog, if you're going to start a blog, start a YouTube channel at the same time. Just do both of them, because she really felt like YouTube was the way forward into the future. And I thought, what have I got to lose? I mean, nobody's going to watch the videos anyway, so I'll just do it. And I thought it would be easier to explain things in video form. Like if you're trying to write out a pattern and explain things, it's so much easier to do it on video, for me at least anyway, than to write things out. So that's when I just thought, all right, why not? I'll start a channel and see what happens. Yeah.
And it's been an awesome, I've seen how your channel has grown, because we started watching you in 2020.
Yeah.
And suddenly we just started seeing how you got more and more and more subscribers. And it just makes me so happy that coming back to this fact that so many people, as you said, really need an outlet, and really knitting and crocheting. I never thought I would be a knitter, crocheter. I never thought I would spend my time on it, but it truly is such, I just feel like the community also is so beautiful. It's so, I don't know what the word would be, nice, clean. It's good. It's just a good community for people that are in the community.
Oh yeah. I love it. That's, my friends will say, or my family will say, oh, how do you deal with all the negative comments? And I'm like, I rarely get a negative comment. People are just nice. It's very rare. Pretty much everybody is just supportive. Even if they disagree with something, they usually say it in a pretty nice way. Like, I don't really agree with you on that. And that's fine. But people are generally pretty nice. So I love it.
So do you sell any toys now?
No.
Okay.
No. Every once in a while, I think I want to, like, oh, I love packaging them up, and I thought it would be so much fun, but I'm designing more now, and I keep jumping from one new project to the next, and no. So the answer is no. I'm not selling finished work right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I wanted to ask you about designing. So I can imagine, and I'm really interested in knowing when that started appearing in your mind. Oh, I want to try to design amigurumi. And how has that been for you?
It's stressful to me. I get very stressed out about it. I think it was probably maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago. It started, I had an idea, and I had done a little bit of designing here and there, but it was something where I felt like I'm a maker. I'm not a designer. I'm not interested in it. I want to make all the things that everybody else designs. And that's really what I was focused on. But I had done this little, I call him my alien bear, and he was a really weird little bear, but there was something about his body that I liked. And I thought, I think I could do something with that. And one day it just came to my mind that he would make a great little pig. And so I reworked it, and he turned into this cute little pig. And I thought, I love him. He's so cute. And I knit some little clothes for him because I love that combination of crocheted toys with the little knitted clothing. And I fell in love with it at that point. And then I started getting more ideas like, oh, if you have the three little pigs, then he needs a wolf. And, just different little ideas have just started popping up. But it still makes me nervous. I don't know why designing. I think you're putting yourself out there in a way that's different than if I'm crocheting a toy from another designer, and if somebody doesn't like it, well, that was the designer. I just made the toy. But when you design, it's like you're putting a little piece of yourself out there, and it feels maybe it's a little more vulnerable to design. So I still feel a little shy about it, but I know that that's the path that I want to keep going down.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so we have more Le Petit Saint Crochet. I don't know how to pronounce it. I know that you also say. I don't know how to pronounce it either. How do you pronounce it? How have the French people in your life told you it's pronounced?
Well, I don't know any real French people. I say it the American. Probably I live in the South in America, which we have a more distinct accent here. So I say it just Le Petit Saint Crochet. And I know how to pronounce it in French, but no American would be able to spell it. So that is not, if you're looking for it and I pronounced it in the French way, as an American, I wouldn't be able to spell that. So just say it.
How would you say it in French?
Le Petit Saint.
Ah, Le Petit Saint.
Saint, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, crochet. Crochet is the same. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think even though I know that's how you pronounce it, it just, for Americans, it's easier to pronounce it the way people would spell it. So
definitely. Yeah. I don't think anybody would be able to find you easily if you said it the way it's said.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So for people that are watching, what do you think is the best piece of advice? I know that you have many videos on this, but since they're not in Spanish, maybe for some people they can understand, maybe for others they can't. But what is your biggest piece of advice for people that are wanting to start amigurumi? And also, well, maybe the second question is about people that want to start designing. So what do you think are important pieces of advice?
So if you want to start amigurumi, I feel like the best place to start is learn your basic crochet skills. I know that some people like to jump into amigurumi and they can get frustrated. And I really think get comfortable holding that hook in your hand, holding the yarn in your hand, learning how to single crochet, double crochet. Just get comfortable that you can hold the yarn, you can hold your hook, and you can just feel comfortable making stitches. And I think if you just have even just a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of experience, you can start crocheting amigurumi. And a lot of times just starting with a tutorial on YouTube is so fantastic because somebody can show you and you can see exactly how to do it. And then from there, you can just crochet any pattern that you want. It really, it looks harder than it really is, I think. Do you think that way too?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
And once you know the basic stitches, it's like, oh, you start
Yeah.
understanding most patterns. I know that there are much, I mean, I feel like what you're doing now, which is making the clothes for your amigurumi, that's a little bit more advanced, but that
Yeah.
maybe is not exact. I mean, it's not exactly amigurumi, it's more advanced, right?
Yeah.
But definitely when you just start learning the basic stitches, you can definitely stitch almost any amigurumi out there.
Right. Yeah, because they're basically the same construction. It's so similar. Everything's most amigurumi starts in one of only a couple of ways. So I would say don't be afraid to start crocheting amigurumi because it's not as difficult as it looks.
Are there still patterns that you consider difficult? Which would be the hardest or the most difficult patterns that you've tried out?
I think the hardest ones that I've ever done are if they have a tremendous amount of detail. Any ones that have lots of small details on them or they're large. I'm trying to think the hardest one that I've done recently. I think one of the ones that I did was Granny, and I think it's the Zoe and Zach crochet pattern, and I call her Granny, like a grandma. She's very cute, but there were a lot of pieces, a lot of little things, and it wasn't difficult in that sense because it is still just single crocheting. But I find especially if they're big, that can get tedious after a while if you're single crocheting so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say most crocheted amigurumi. Now there are some knitted ones that are pretty advanced and
that's kind of a different. I have not explored knitted amigurumi, and I'm kind of still. I'm not. I don't know if afraid, but it just seems a little daunting. It seems like it's more difficult. Is that?
It's so different. It's so incredibly different. You know, with And there's different ways that you can knit toys than crochet them. You know, with crocheting, you're pretty much crocheting in the round. There are some of those ragdoll patterns that, you know, you crochet a panel, and sew them together for a toy. But
Right.
with knitting, you can knit them flat and then seam them together, or you can knit them in the round. But knitting in the round is a different technique than crocheting in the round. It's just different. I love both, but it's definitely different. And I do think it is more advanced, and it's a little more difficult than crocheting. But I will say that crocheting toys gave me such a good idea of construction for knitted toys. So I understood the construction of a toy so that it was easier to go into knitting toys because I kind of had an idea like, okay, I get what you're trying to do here. Yeah.
Okay. So going back to a question I asked before, for somebody that wants to start designing amigurumi, what do you think is necessary? I mean, what do you think was necessary for you to actually be able to start designing?
I think the first thing is I had crocheted so many toys. I had crocheted a lot of toys beforehand. So I felt like I understood, oh, this is how you make a head. This is how you make the body. These are the feet. And I learned what was my preference. I actually make a lot of my toys from the feet up. And that was just something that over time, as I practiced and I just got better and better at it, I just started to notice things that I prefer, like, oh, I like doing it this way, or I like this little technique. But I think if you want to design, the best thing to do is just to crochet a lot of different toys from a lot of different designers, see what different techniques are out there, and you'll learn just so much. And I know for me, sometimes you can keep a little notebook and write down ideas. That's especially what I do now. If I have an idea and I cannot draw at all, I'm not good at drawing, so I will never share my sketches anywhere on social media. But I might get an idea like, oh, I think I want something that looks like this and it's going to have a little body like this, or, you know. So I think keeping some sketches and just some ideas and just, I think being open to those ideas to come to you. Because you may think for so long, I didn't think that I would be a designer. I thought that is not for me. But then these little ideas started bubbling up in my head, and I thought, okay, I need to explore it. And I think also just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to just go for it, because what's the worst thing that can happen? You didn't like it. You could make an alien bear like I did, and you're like, nope, this is not cute. This did not work out. That's the worst thing that can happen. So I think just go for it and have fun.
Okay, great. So I'm curious, do you feel more famous nowadays since you have more followers? Does it happen that people recognize you in the streets? I'm wondering.
Oh, no. I went to a yarn, like we have this thing in our city called a yarn crawl, where you go to all the different local yarn shops.
I watched that video.
Yeah, in one of the yarn shops in my town, the lady was like, "Oh, hey, I watch your YouTube channel," and I was like, "Oh, that." So, I mean, that's the only time that's ever happened in my entire life. So, I was like, "Oh, it was really nice, but weird," you know.
Yeah, and then you have me and my daughter like fangirling over you, like crazy.
No, nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows.
So what are your plans, your goals in regards to your whole yarn life? What are your goals right now?
I want to get myself organized. I really, really, really struggle with that. I am always flying by the seat of my pants. That is a huge goal for me. Is I see these people and I talk about her all the time. You want to talk about fangirling? I fangirl over Tony from TL Yarn Crafts.
Yeah,
I fangirl big over her. She is, and I find any interview that she's done, I'll watch it, and she is so organized with her business. I once heard her talk about that she plans her projects out 6, 7, 9 months out.
Wow.
Yes, she gets her like entire year planned.
Oh, wow.
My brain doesn't work like that. I don't know. I really am like a week by week person. That really is a huge goal of mine, is to just get more organized about it, because I think I would feel a little bit less stressed about things if I was just had my act together a little bit more. And that really goes into designing. I have all these ideas, but if I don't get myself organized and plan that out, like I have a cat pattern that people are asking, like, when is this coming? You've been telling us for 6 months this pattern is coming out. And I'm like, I know it is. I just have to get it written, because I wrote it on about 14 different scraps of paper and it's all over the place. And I want to design. I want to have more, have a process in place so that I'm always not having to reinvent the wheel. So I think that's just because I just kind of started this all organically. And now it's getting to the point where I have sponsors for videos sometimes. And I have commitments that I have now. And I'm trying. That's a long-winded way to say I want to be more organized. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, great. So in regards to YouTube, any goals that you have in regards to your channel?
I mean, I would love to hit 100,000 subscribers. I think I could tell my kids, hey, look at what mom has 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think that would be really fun. And I mean, this, subscribers really don't mean anything on YouTube. It doesn't help you in any way, as far as you don't make any more money if you have more subscribers. It really doesn't equate to that at all. But I do think for me, I would feel like it was a little badge of like, oh, wow, I did this kind of a thing. So I think that I would really like that.
That's going to happen definitely this year. I don't have any doubt at all that you're going to reach the 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I don't know. I always, and you're a YouTuber, so you understand this. You put out a video and you've put your heart and soul into it, and you're just hoping anybody will watch it. And you just never know what's going to happen with YouTube, because you're really not in control of it. You can put out the video, but who knows if people will like it, if they won't. So yeah.
One more question about your family. So, how about your husband? What does he think about you and crochet? Has he ever become? I remember one video. I think that, and I hope that he watches this because he said, "I want you to knit these for me." And
Oh, yes.
did you ever do that?
He has nothing made for me. Nothing. He wanted me to make him these mittens, and I have yet to do it. Yeah. Poor man.
Okay.
No, but he absolutely thinks that it's amazing that I can crochet and knit. He's very mechanically minded about things, so he likes to see like how does that work? Like how he wants to understand how you construct things. So and he really loves that I've learned so much about social media and YouTube because that's part of his job. And everybody at his job's always like, oh my gosh, you know so much about social media and YouTube and all of these things. And he's like, I learned it all from my wife because I tell him everything I learned. So we definitely have that in common.
That's awesome. That's so great. And you've talked a little bit about that. You took a course on YouTube, I mean, about
Yeah.
YouTube. Is that
Yeah.
what you would say, what mainly has helped you grow as a YouTuber and understanding YouTube?
So I took two courses. I took a beginning course from the original blog course that I took from the lady from Farmhouse on Boone. And that was a foundational, like, here's how you start a YouTube channel. Like, here's how to put your, choose a name. Here's how to put the end screen, all of basically how to really just fundamental basic things, like how to put the description in the description box. And then it was about 6 months ago that I took a different YouTube course. And her name is Erica Vieira. She has a course called, oh my gosh, I can't think of the name. It's she has a podcast called the Erica Vieira podcast where she interviews women on YouTube. It's a really fascinating podcast because she interviews people who have millions of subscribers and they talk about their journeys on YouTube. But she has a course, and I took that about 6 months ago or so, maybe a little longer. And that she is more in the strategy of YouTube, and that helped change my mind a lot. That has changed my YouTube for 100%.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. It's really, really good.
Elise, you spoke about in one of your videos about pain, and I'm actually currently in a lot of pain because even though I saw your video, which is that's what makes me most angry of all, that even though I watched your video and I've seen all over the place, you have to take breaks, you have to take care of your hands, of your arms. I just went on this marathonic crocheting day and I have this huge pain in my left arm. How do you take care of yourself?
I mean, I think taking breaks is the number one most important thing. And I know as crocheters and knitters, there's nothing I love more than cozying up on a winter night like this and sitting in front of the TV with my family and knitting and crocheting for hours, but I always pay for it. And so now I force myself to, I won't let myself crochet or knit tonight, even though I really want to, and I'm working on a project I really love. I won't let myself. I have to be disciplined about it because I got into such a bad state. I got tendonitis in my elbow really bad, and it was very painful. And it took months to heal. It was oh my goodness, it was not fun. So now I try to remember that. And anytime I start having pain, I put ice on it. I rest, I stretch. And I really do try to take care of my physical body just because, as a crocheter, I started sitting more. I was sitting a lot more, and I realized I've got to get up. I've got to move. I've got to stretch my back out, my neck. I've found that it's so important for us because we're doing repetitive motions over and over and over again, especially if you're making amigurumi. You're making those single crochets over and over and over again. And that is hard. Even if you don't really feel it at the time, you can be causing some damage there. And I just know taking breaks, doing different things, you know, stretching, it's just so important.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering when you can't crochet, because what's happened to me is that feel so fidgety when
Yeah.
now that I can't, I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do while we're watching a series or whatever? And
Right.
how do you deal with that?
I don't deal with it well. I can't just sit there. If I do that, I end up scrolling on my phone. And that I don't like doing that because I just get lost in some TikTok watching cat videos. And then it's like 2 hours later, it's like, what have I done with my life? Yeah, I don't do well with it. I no longer can just sit and do nothing.
Yeah.
I can't. It ruins you forever.
That is so funny. Yeah. Okay. So at least I know I'm not alone on that feeling. Of, like, what do I do now? I have no idea. Okay. Okay. So will we ever get Les Petit saying crochet patterns in Spanish?
I would love to. I've got to find somebody who could translate them. That's a good idea. I've not ever even thought about that before, but yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. So maybe somebody here could help, you know.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody that's watching this video can become interested in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you like to say to anybody that is just knowing you now, maybe in the Spanish community? What would you like to invite them, even if your videos are in English? I would just really like for you to be able to invite people to watch your videos and over to your channel. And maybe this is the first time people will be able to understand what you're saying. So I'm not sure if there's anything that you would like to tell people that are watching this video right now.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for watching today. It's really exciting. This is what I love about the crocheting and knitting community, is that really, even if we're not speaking the same verbal language, we speak the same language with our crafts, and we can all understand that. We can admire one another's work, and I love sharing with people all over the place. And that's what is so exciting to me when I see on my channel. And I love when people share where they're watching from, because I just live here in little North Carolina, and to hear, I mean, we're talking, you're in Chile. That's so, I mean, it blows my mind away that we're able to connect like this. So I would invite anybody to come. One of these days, I'll figure out how to translate. I know that there's a way that you can translate on YouTube, but I still haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I would love to.
Yeah, so I really want everybody, I want to invite everybody to go to your channel. Hopefully one day we'll have your patterns in Spanish, and maybe, I think that YouTube does have now like automatic translation that is much better than before, but I'm not sure if it's available in Spanish. Yeah. I'm going to actually check it out now, but even if there is, I'm still going to place the subtitles specifically on this video, because sometimes I know that automatic subtitle doesn't really work out 100%. Right. But I am so grateful, Elise, for you accepting this time and for giving us this time to speak and to know you a little bit more. And I really, really hope that this is not the last time that we speak. And I just want to thank you for being here today.
Well, I just thank you. This has been so much fun for me. I love being able to talk about crocheting and knitting, and I really appreciate it. And yes, we need to talk again, because I think we've got a lot in common. And yeah, this was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So don't hang up when I say goodbye. We're just going to say goodbye to the audience, so then we can say goodbye personally. Yeah. But thank you again so much. Muchas gracias a todos, a todas por ver este video. Estoy muy, muy contenta, muy emocionada como se ve. Y bueno, espero que vuelvan al canal para ver otra entrevista en el futuro. Así que muchas gracias. Bye, Elise.
Adiós.